welcome back to Northside Pyro. Today we are with Sam. He's my brother-in-law. He actually lives in Missouri, the best fireworks state in the country in my opinion. And he's interested in putting together a fireworks show. He's never bought a ton of fireworks to put together a show before. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through some of the different kinds of fireworks available in consumer fireworks stores and talk about sort of what is worthwhile to get depending on the size show that you want to do. And the best way to get the best bang for your buck and have the most fun, obviously. That's always the point, right? To have the most fun. Looking to have a good time. It's a bachelor party. You know, it's going to be guys hanging out, blowing stuff up. Sounds like an awesome time to me. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing, we're going to start off small and move all the way to big, okay?
Yes, yeah.
So the first thing is you have what we call novelties, right? Novelties are not going to be part of your show, but they are definitely part of your fun.
All right.
Okay, so those novelties are going to be things like smoke bombs. Yeah, absolutely. Got things like smoke bombs. These are crackling balls, so when you light it off, it's like a firecracker, but it goes, you know, like all sorts of crackling on the ground. That's what these guys are. These are ground blooms. So you light them off, they spin around, and they just make colors. So these are not big display items, but these are definitely fun things to do, you know, as you're waiting to put on your show. It's nice to have some little novelties around, just to have something to light off so you're not wasting the big boomers for the show later on. But, you know, you get itchy. It's starting to get dark. You know, you want to wait until like...
some fire.
Exactly. You want to wait until probably 45 minutes after sunset to actually get the real show going. But before then, the lighter's in your pocket. You want to start lighting stuff off. So having the novelties around is a really good idea just to play around with as you're getting ready to do your main show. Then the next category of items we have is called fountains. Fountains are ground fireworks. These do not go up in the air, okay? And the easiest way to distinguish that is by looking actually at the caution, okay? When you look at the caution, it's going to say emits showers of sparks. It doesn't say anything about shoots flaming balls. Emits showers of sparks, meaning that this thing doesn't actually shoot anything up in the air. It's going to be a relatively low firework. For people putting on big displays, a lot of times it's nice to have some fountains on the ground while you have other bigger stuff going up in the air so that you have a multi-level sort of effect going on. But they're also, around here in my show, what we do is we tend to light these off, you know, about maybe 45 minutes before darkness, because this is what we do when we start to get itchy. We start lighting off fountains. We have a whole bunch of fountains for the show this year. And so this is the sort of stuff that just stays on the ground. You know, if you have tree cover or if you're in a safe and sane state and you're trying to follow the laws, fountains are definitely something that you're going to want to have to add to your show.
Well, how tall do they range?
You know, it depends. A lot of times they say, and here's one quick tip, but it's true about all of the fireworks we're going to talk about. Any modern firework is going to come with a QR code on it, okay? And you can either search a channel like mine to try to find, and there's tons of channels out there that do demos, or you can just go ahead and scan the QR code, and it's going to show you exactly what that individual firework does.
Interesting.
Okay, so almost any modern firework is going to have a QR code on it. You scan it, and when you're at the store, and then you're going to know exactly what you're buying, so you get no surprises when you get home. Some of them are relatively small. They'll only go 4 or 5 feet in the air. There are ones that can go 30 feet in the air.
Interesting.
And there are ones that even brag about that say, you know, world's tallest fountain and things like that. So you definitely want to make sure, depending on the area that you're in, that you're being safe. And so if you have tree cover like we have in our backyard, which is where we do the fountains, I try to limit it to, you know, 10, 15 feet. And again, you can definitely, some of them will say on here what size, you know, like for instance this one, it says right here, 7 feet.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the better firework brands tend to have that information right on the wrap. But otherwise you can just watch the QR code, watch the video, and then you'll get a lot more information about what it is that you're buying. Next up, we're going into what we, you know, what many people consider to be real fireworks. These are what are called either cakes or aerial repeaters. A lot of people call them cakes. I think technically they're called aerial repeaters. And basically what these are is you light one fuse and it shoots several shots up into the air and has like the big firework breaks that you're really looking for. Right? When you're thinking about fireworks, you're thinking about things going up in the air, and you're thinking about big bursts with color and crackle and noise and effects and willows and all sorts of different stuff. That's where these guys start to come in. Okay? And when it comes to these aerial repeaters or cakes, there are actually 3 major different kinds, and they're based on the amount of black powder that's inside of them. Okay? So you have 200-gram cakes, you have 350-gram cakes, and you have 500-gram cakes. And I have one of each here to show you. So the 200-gram cakes are going to tend to be smaller like this. Don't let that fool you. These guys can really give you some bang, okay? These there are definitely some 200-gram bangers. So. They look small, but again, when you watch them, you know, when you light them off, or when you watch a video on them, or when you watch, you know, a demo like mine on them, you're going to see these guys, these are no joke, okay? These are legit, real aerial fireworks. They go up in the air. They have big, you know, they have big brakes, and they're going to look really, really good. And so if you're just trying to have a bunch of fun and light a bunch of fuses, because that's the thing, there's really two different things to think about when it comes to doing fireworks, right? One is if you're trying to do a display for other people, right? When you're trying to do a display for other people, then you're going to want as few fuses as possible, because that takes time to light the fuses, right? If you're a group of guys standing around and everybody wants to light fireworks, so you're just grabbing one at a time and running out into the middle and lighting them off, 200-gram cakes are an awesome option, because each one has its own fuse. Now this is, for instance, 21 shots. There are some that are 7 shots, some that are 24 shots, more than that, anywhere in between. This one in particular is 21 shots. So that means you light the fuse one time, you just watch it go, and it's going to shoot 21 separate fireworks up into the air, right?
Is that something to start off a show?
It's, you know, or in the middle, anywhere in between. That's right. I mean, these are no slouches. Just because they're the smallest of the 3 varieties does not mean that it's like, oh, this is a little nothing. I mean, sure, there are ones that are little nothings, but ones like this, I mean, this is going to give you a heck of a, you know, a heck of a show, just this one individual box here, right? And depending on where you go, as long as you go to a reputable mom and pop shop or a family-owned fireworks store, these ones should cost you anywhere between $7 to maybe $20, $25, you know, depending on just how tightly packed they are. And again, these are what called 200-gram cakes, because they have 200 grams of blast charge inside of them, right? So then the next step up then would be 350-gram cakes. So we have one of those right here. We have Biker's Pride from Raccoon. These
more
again,
serious here.
That's right. And again, it's basically the same thing. It's just they're allowed to have more black powder in them, and they're allowed to have more charge in them, which means that either it's going to be more shots, or each individual shot is going to be a little bit bigger, a little bit louder, a little bit of a larger break. But again, it's the same concept where you just light the one fuse, and then you sit back and watch it shoot off. This one, for instance, has 12 shots, right? So just by lighting one fuse, you're going to have 12 different shots that go up into the air, have big breaks. It's going to be a really good part of your show. And again, if you're doing a display where you're just the one that's in charge of everything, then you're probably going to want the bigger ones, because each individual fuse that you light is going to be a much bigger part of your show. Whereas if you're just playing around with your friends and everybody is lighting one at a time and everybody wants to light off fireworks, then the smaller ones like the 200-gram cakes and the 350-gram cakes are going to be a real good option for you. And they're going to be a little bit more expensive than the 200-gram cakes, obviously. You're looking at probably anywhere between $20 and $30 to $35 is a pretty decent price for a 350-gram cake. And then finally on the cakes, we have the big boys, which are the 500-gram cakes. These are the biggest fireworks they get. You can feel that. Feel how heavy that is.
Wow, that's
yeah. Now, part of the reason it's heavy, you know, a lot of us, myself included, one of the things we do when we go to buy fireworks is we pick them up, right? And the heavier they are, you're like, oh man, that's so heavy. That's got to be a good one. The truth is, they're legally limited on the amount of black powder that's inside of them, right? So what you're feeling there is they either use clay or cement plugs in the bottom of them to make them safe, so they don't tip over. So in the bottom, all across here is going to be a piece of cement or a piece of concrete or some, you know, heavy dried clay that makes sure that this thing doesn't flip over. But it does have 500 grams of powder inside of it, right? So that is the biggest allowable in a single firework in the United States. Doesn't matter what state you live in. The largest that you're allowed to get in any firework is 500 grams for the one fuse, right? This is from Brothers Saturday Night Special. This is a super classic cake. Now this one, this is where you get lucky that you live in Missouri. In Missouri, I bought this in Missouri. You're going to be able to get these for $25 or $30.
Wow.
Around here, where we're at in Northwest Indiana and Wisconsin, they're going to charge you $75, $80. You know, a really good shop, you may get it for $50 or $60. One of the real rip-off places, you're probably going to get it for $125, $150. By you, at the shop that I go to at Rocket Fireworks, which is where I bought this one in Wright, Missouri, this one I got in a 4-pack, and the 4-pack cost me, I think, $90 for all 4 of them.
Wow.
So less than $25 a piece, which is absolutely insane. It's an incredible price. And these guys really, again, it's going to tell you, it's going to obviously have the QR code on it like we talked about. And then right on the side, it's going to tell you it has 36 shots. It's generally going to have a performance where it's going to tell you generally, but it's going to use firework terms, right? It's going to say things like peony and willow and brocade and things like that, which I don't really expect every single person to understand what all those terms mean, which is why that QR code is really, really important. You just scan it and you're going to see exactly what you're buying.
Right.
You're going to know exactly what you're getting into. Then,
All right.
yeah, so we have 2 more to go through, okay? First is what's called a Noab, okay? So these are Noabs. These are 9-shot, so this is also technically a 500-gram cake, but that 500 grams is all divided between 9 shots. Now, these are generally going to be some of your most expensive fireworks. Again, where you live, where I bought these, you're going to be able to get them for $80, $90. In Northwest Indiana and Wisconsin, you could be looking at easy $175, $200 for one of these guys. So it's not really a great value unless you're doing an enormous show, because these are the biggest breaks, the biggest fireworks of anything that you can buy. Okay, and what's great about these is that inside of each one of these is a ball shell, as opposed to a canister shell. We'll look at canister shells in a second. What's good about ball shells is that they're really, really symmetrical. So they're the really pretty, round, fireworks up in the sky.
Really nice.
And these ones are specifically, these are called either Noabs or 9-shot racks. I only get Noabs that have a specific effect to them. Okay, when it comes to just a regular firework that goes up and explodes, I don't bother with the Noabs. What I go for is the one, so this one, for instance, has this big ring that comes out, and out of the middle of the ring comes what we call a horsetail, which is like a shower of sparks from the middle of the ring up in the air.
Huh.
These ones also, out of all of the fireworks that you can get, legal 1.4 consumer fireworks, are going to go the highest in the air. A 200-gram firework may go 70 to 110 feet in the air. A 500-gram may go 100 to 150. These could easily go 200 feet in the air.
Wow.
And so these are going to be your sky-high, huge breaks, incredible effects. But pick them wisely because they are expensive. They are by far the most expensive fireworks that you can get.
Is there anything bigger than that?
Well, bigger than that is an interesting question. The next thing I was going to show you, these are called shells, okay? They generally come in a 24-pack. Most people that love fireworks, this is going to be just about their favorite thing to get. And so they come with these tubes.
Alrighty.
And then they come with 24 of these shells, right? And each shell, I should have untaped this before we started this, but that's okay. Each shell then goes into the tube one at a time. And they're going to come with 4 tubes, okay? A 24-pack generally is going to come with 4 tubes. You can buy these in 6-packs. You can buy them in 12-packs. You can even buy them in 18-packs. But the absolute most standard is to get a 24-pack. These happen to be some of the most desirable in the country. These are death shells, also available in Missouri. Not available in most places, but available in Missouri. The way these ones work is they come individually. They come with a fuse. You just drop them down to the bottom. You light the fuse, you get the hell out of there, and you watch it, and it's going to launch off. And these are going to be huge, enormous breaks in the sky. Not quite as big as the Noabs, but the difference is that these 24-packs in a good store should cost you anywhere between $70 to $110, $120, and you get 24 of them in there. And each one has its own individual fuse. So again, if you have a bunch of people that are trying to light up fireworks,
that's a great option.
You get 24 fuses to light. Each one is going to give you a huge explosion, a huge break, a beautiful firework, and that way a lot more people can participate. What we tend to do, what people that are putting on displays tend to do, is we have racks that it has multiple tubes, and we take these and we fuse them together. So by lighting one fuse, it goes down the line and they all shoot up in the air. And you can put together some really beautiful displays that way. But so that is sort of your main kind of fireworks. Now there is one other kind I'll show you, but again, unless you're putting on a display, I really wouldn't mess with these because these are very expensive. These are what are called 1-1 or zipper cakes. Okay, now it's called 1-1 because they can only fit one in each box that's shipped, right? And so these are, for instance, this one is 156 shots, just this one cake. Okay, but these are going to cost you, this is a $150 firework. This one firework is $150. Okay, and so if you're doing a huge display, to have 2 or 3, I have 3 of these for my entire display. One of them will be in the middle as sort of a fake finale, and then 2 of them are part of the finale. These are really finale pieces. These you pair together with, either a Noab or with, a rack of shells, and they go off at the same time, and this is really going to create an incredible effect. But if you're just playing around in the backyard and just, lighting off individual fireworks, I'm not sure that I would go for a 1-1 cake because, again, for $150, you should be able to get maybe 10 to 15 200-gram cakes as opposed to one of these 1-1 or zipper cakes. It's usually going to say on the side, but it could be anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute for $150 for one fuse. So again, unless you're doing a big display of fireworks, then you're probably not going to want to get one. Again, I have 3 of them. Most of you pyros out there who are doing big 4th of July displays, you probably have a couple of them as well. But if you're just playing around and you're not putting on like a set show that you've timed out and everything like that, they're probably not going to be your best investment. But I showed them because you asked, is there anything bigger? So those are the biggest fireworks. So I figured I'd show you that as well. So that's basically it. From small all the way up to large, that's generally what's going to be available in consumer fireworks. The only thing I don't have here that we didn't talk about is rockets. Mainly because I don't do rockets because they're very unpredictable and I live in a populated area. If you're out in like a gravel quarry or out in, in your own property and you have acres of land, rockets can be a lot of fun, but they do tend to go sideways on you. And so it's hard to predict which direction they're going. So, it's up to you. At your discretion, that's right, at your discretion whether you want to mess with rockets or not. Obviously, they're sort of the most classic fireworks that you think of in your mind, right? When you think of a firework, a consumer firework, you think of a rocket, with a little missile on the top of it. That's right, or little bottle rockets or the big old rockets. But again, just because I live in a populated area, I don't need one of those going sideways and going into somebody's window, which could very easily happen. Those things are crazy unpredictable. So that's basically it. From small all the way up to large, from the ground to the air, that is generally what you're going to find at your local fireworks store. Go to a mom and pop shop where you can ask them. Generally, if they're not busy, they'll walk around with you. They know about everything in their store. They'll let you know, you give them a budget, say, I'm looking to spend $500. I want aerial stuff. I want 1 box of shells, 2 boxes of shells, and a bunch of cakes. They'll help you pick out what's the best things in the store and what's going to be the best thing for your show and for your buck.
Oh, perfect.
So you have any questions? Anything?
Yeah, would you recommend a combo for
So I would definitely recommend a combination. I would generally, depending on your budget, if you have, say, $1,000 to spend, which is a pretty big budget for fireworks, okay? If you have $1,000 to spend, I would probably get I would get 1 or 2 boxes of the shells, right? So that's already $200 eaten out of your budget.
Gotcha.
Maybe even 3 boxes of the shells. I would get a bunch of 200-gram cakes, a couple of 500-gram cakes, maybe 4 or 5 500-gram cakes, a whole pile of 200-gram cakes, and then I would get just, a handful of novelties just so you have stuff to play around with all day long. That's kind of where I would go with it. You want the shells. The shells are those tend to be the most fun. Again, one fuse, 1 boom, and you can just run in and out, lighting them off and going crazy. And, you can have 2 or 3 people because they come with multiple tubes.
Nice.
So you can have 2, and they're generally all going to be interchangeable as long as you get the standard canister shells. Some of them come with 12-inch tubes, some of them come with 15-inch tubes. That doesn't really matter too much in terms of safety. Even if you get a 6-inch shell, you can still put it into a 12-inch tube. Some people think that the 15-inch tubes go higher. I don't know that I've ever seen any real evidence of that. But in general, so that's what I would do. I would get a big pile of 200-gram cakes. I would get a few 500-gram cakes, maybe 5, 6, 7 500-gram cakes. I'd get a couple of boxes of these death shells, and then a bunch of novelties just so you have stuff to play around with as you're getting itchy and as you're trying to, as the sun is setting. And you're going to have a really good time. If you're putting together an official display where you're the only person really lighting stuff off and other people are just the audience watching, then maybe I would get a couple of Noabs and a zipper cake. But if it's just you and a group of friends doing a bachelor party thing where everybody's going to want to be lighting and everybody's going to want to be participating, you want some mixture of 200-gram cakes, 500-gram cakes, and shells, and then a few novelties to have a little bit of fun during the day. And you'll be set. You're going to have a fantastic time.
I'll appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, Sam, thanks for stopping by. I can't wait to see what it is that you get. Certainly call me up at the store if you need me to, if you need help. That's going to do it this time for Northside Pyro. Click the like button, subscribe, leave us a comment, and we will see you in the next one.